So this is Uri'madu, Songs of the Planet Walkers by Jennifer Boys. And this is a chapter called The Lahar. Casco saw Lynn's eyes roll disdainfully. "I can't walk and watch," she said. "The path is too rough." "Try, please," he said. "I'll be watching too," Andal said, "but Casco and Kobar will be occupied with guiding us down." "I don't care whether you like her or not," Casco said to Lynn's mind alone. "Do as she says." Lynn didn't answer. "Come on, Kobar." He put one hand on the burly Rook's shoulder. "Let's get us down from here and home safe." They followed the ridge tops, winding gradually downward until they came to a steep-sided gully. Casco didn't like it, but this was the quickest way to get back to the higher ridges. He searched with his mind, trying to sense the stability of the path ahead. A vigorous tremor shook the ground, and he was dismayed to see stones rolling freely beneath the snow. Ropes would be needed. Lynn scowled. "Why have we stopped?" "I don't like the look of that," Casco said. "The look of what?" Casco ignored her. "Can you see beneath the snow, Lady Andal?" he asked. Andal closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them again, she looked worried. "It's a moraine. And before you ask, Lynn, it's a slide of loose rocks dumped there by a glacier." Lynn sneered. "Then why not just call it that? A rock slide?" Andal's reply was cut short when a fresh tremor shook the ground. Kobar pointed to the scree. Casco nodded sharply at something he'd shared. "Stones are moving beneath the snow, and they're slippery with ice. We'll need those ropes." They looked up as a deep crack reverberated down the length of the gully as if something distant had broken. "The ridge has given way," Lynn cried. Casco felt his reflexes sharpen, his mind step up a gear. It was no good going back the way they'd come. "Quickly, we have to cross the rock slide. Ropes, Kobar." "It's coming this way," Lynn said. "I can hear it. Can't we just cross?" Casco noted a slow rumble, like thunder coming up through their feet. Stones began to jitter. Kobar had already uncoiled a length of rope. "No, too treacherous. Wait until we can rig a safety line. Kobar, see that rock on the other side there, to the left? We'll anchor there." "Hurry," said Lynn. Casco turned to Andal. "Here," he started, about to tell her to loop the rope around her waist. But she was standing unnaturally still and seemed not to have heard him. Her eyes were closed. "Lady Andal," he said. "Lady Andal." "Look at her," Lynn said. "Terrified. I told you this would happen." Casco studied Andal for a moment longer, unwilling to believe that Lynn was correct or that he would have to forcibly carry her to safety. Then he noticed something else. "Her mark," he said. "It's glowing." "I can hold the path stable," Andal said. It was as if she forced the words from her mouth. "I've got it. Just go." Lynn tested the scree with her foot, then scrambled across without incident. From the opposite ridgetop, she craned her neck, searching for signs that the water was coming. Kobar followed, then paused on the other side, waiting for Casco and Andal. The rumble became a low roar, filling their ears. Casco hesitated. "What about you?" he said to Andal. "Throw me the rope," Andal muttered. The formation of words seemed difficult for her. "Now go." "Hurry," Lynn cried. "It's coming." She shared the image of the roiling Lahar snaking down the valley. The surge was blackened by rocks and mud scoured from its channel. Casco tied the rope around Andel's waist. "Are you ready?" She squeezed her eyes more tightly shut. "Go," she breathed. "Just go." He paid out the rope as he ran. When he reached solid rock, he turned. "Now!" he cried. Andel's mark dimmed as her mind released the loose shingle. Casco kept tension on the rope. As she started towards him, he willed her to keep balance. The roar of the approaching waters grew until it was deafening. Air stirred, pushed before the flood. The rope jerked as slippery pebbles rolled beneath Andel's tread. There was no time. "Give me the rope," Kobar called. "Hold on," Casco yelled to Andel. Then he ran in tandem with Kobar. Andel scrambled as a black wall of water rushed towards them, filling the gully, eating everything in its path. Lind screamed. Casco ran as he'd never thought he could, but the rope jerked taut as Andel was caught in the flood. He braced himself as the powerful current tore at his arms, dragging his feet skidding against the stony ground. Then a jolt as Kobar wedged himself against an outcrop and held them fast. Time slowed. His thoughts raced. How could Lady Andel survive this? Archangels were tough, but their diviner was small for her breeding and slightly built. He fished for her mind in the maelstrom. They had been close during the survey. They had held hands. That must count for something. There she was. He didn't know if she felt him or not. Her thought was focused solely on survival. Somehow she'd had the presence of mind to push a bubble of energy between herself and the onslaught, enough to keep her limbs from being broken. She held the rope in a death grip. Her need to breathe gripped Casco's lungs as if it was his own. Hold on, Lady Andel. She must not pass out. He willed her to survive. Her strength and bravery had saved them from the Lahar. Surely they would not lose her because of it. "Pull," he shouted to Kobar. "Pull!" The rope slewed towards the mountainside, and at last Andel's head broke the surface. She rolled and gasped for air, but she was unable to find her footing. Then, as suddenly as it had arrived, the flood passed. Andel was left behind like a stranded fish, still holding tight to her lifeline. Casco skidded and slipped down the slope. "Andel! Lady Andel!" he cried, and swept her semi-conscious into his arms. Snow fell on Andel's face. She shivered with cold. He stabbed his arm towards a plateau above them. "Tent!" he yelled. "Fire!" He wrapped Andel in a blanket and held her while the shelter went up and the fire was lit. "Huldar, we need help," he called, but their leader was absorbed in Kalan and unable to hear him. Once inside the tent, he laid her on a rug as close to the flames as he dared. "Let me see." Lind pushed him aside and started chafing Andel's limbs. "She's in shock. Get her something sweet to drink. Quick!" Lind closed her eyes and hugged Andel close. Warmth emanated from her body as she activated her healing talent. Casco handed her a mug of honeyed canth and watched anxiously with Kobar as she rubbed Andel's shoulders and murmured, "Andel, Lady Andel, stay with me." Andel's eyes slowly opened and focused on the face above her. "Lind?" she rasped. Her brows drew together as she looked around. "I survived?" Casco sighed with relief. "That you did," he said gently. "Because of you, we all did." Andel's brow furrowed. "I underestimated the danger," she whispered. "It's my fault." "Nothing is your fault, Lady Andel," Lind said. "No one could have done better." At that, Andel's face crumpled. Tears rolled down her cheeks. As she slumped back down into her blankets, her veil weakened, and in her mind they saw the face of a young Trianogi male with the same colour hair as her own and the same light brown eyes. The image faded as she lost consciousness. Lind shrugged. "Her brother?" Casco shook his head. "Will she live?" Lind studied Andel's face. She's in shock, but no broken bones. Does Huldar know what's happened? Must be enmeshed in Kalan. I'll try again. Casco crouched as the tent pole rattled and swayed. The ground beneath them groaned. Each shaking seemed to last longer than the one before. At last he was able to contact their leader and send an appraisal of their situation. The connection broke off, and he knew that Huldar was in Kalan once more, negotiating a path to their rescue. Hopefully he would reach them before the volcano erupted. Kobar chafed Andor's hands in his meaty paws, and Lind held her tenderly as if there had never been the slightest animosity between them. Would the truce last beyond this crisis? It would certainly make things easier if it did. So thank you for listening, and that was a chapter from my book, Uri'madu, Songs of the Planet Walkers, and I'm very excited to share it with you. If you like what you heard, you can go to my website, www.jenniferboys.com, or you can Google Uri'madu. It's got an apostrophe in it. You'll see that on the cover. Please buy my book, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.